Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Kulgod from Pune.
Shashikant. Hi, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nice meeting you, sir.
Same, yes. Same. So, which part of Pune you're based?
Sir, it is towards Baner, sir. Towards Sakarnagar and after that.
गुड
Okay.
इव्हनिंग.
Hi, Yogesh.
सर
Good
आलेत
evening.
का रे?
हा?
हा सर आलेत का?
नाही
सर
ना
आलेत
अजून.
निंबुरकर सर?
नाही
करतो फोन त्यांना मग मी. हा?
नाही ते
मी
काहीतरी
फोन करतो.
एक मिनिट झेड एक्सेलच्या ह्याच्यानं येत आहेत कोण आहेत तेच असतील एखादं कारण आयडेंटिटी.
हम्म. बरं बघ मी तो मेसेज तर पाठवतो.
ओके. Who is this ZXL? Oh, arms 10.
Sir, Ganesh, sir, Ganesh.
Okay.
I think it
निंबुरकर
is.
सर येत आहेत.
Why change?
हा ठीक.
ते automatic घेतलं वाटतं sir त्याने.
Okay.
I'll change it. I'll change it to my real name.
Okay.
No, good sir, you are vigilant. Your vigilance is observed.
सरांचं अजून हे सुरू व्हायचं वाटतं
हो
व्हिडिओ आणि हा
yes. Who's AMS 10?
संयुक्त शेंडे.
Okay. Good evening.
Sir, that ZXL is I'm not able to change now. I think I have to next time when I'm I'll have to log in again.
Let it be. Yeah. No issues.
शशिकांत
हा?
शशिकांत, दोन काही 4-5 गेस्ट पण आहेत म्हणजे आपलं याचा भोसलेचा मला फोन होता भोसलेचा युपीएससी ची तयारी करणारे लोक जे काही आहेत त्याच्याबरोबर म्हणजे युपीएससीच्या एक्झाम्स वगैरे आहेत ना तर ते काही 2-3 लोक जॉईन होणार आहेत काही आज निंबुरकर सरांच्या सेशनला.
ओके.
युपीएससी संदर्भात एक्झाम देणार आहे.
सर सगळ्यांना नमस्कार.
व्हिडिओ ऑफ आहे व्हिडिओ.
हॅलो.
सर सगळ्यांना नमस्कार.
नमस्ते.
कोण जॉईन झालं? आलेत का?
नाही ना अजून.
फोन करतोय.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
शशिकांत मी फोन करतो त्यांना.
हा नाही जॉईन होत आहेत आता परत एकदा त्यांनी हे केलंय.
आले का?
आले.
ओके. आले.
कनेक्ट होत आहेत.
त्यांना स्क्रीन शेअरिंग आणि फक्त आवाजाचं. येस तुमचा आवाज येतोय सर.
गुड इव्हनिंग सर.
ओके.
शशिकांत सर आले त्यांना गाईड करशील स्क्रीन शेअरिंग.
हा. गुड इव्हनिंग सर. सर आता तुमचं प्रेझेंटेशन असणार आहे की म्हणजे कसं आहे म्हणजे पीपीटी फॉर्म मध्ये आहे आपलं प्रेझेंटेशन.
हा माझं स्क्रीन शेअर करतो.
हा राईट.
आले लाईट आले.
तर तुम्ही स्क्रीनवरती क्लिक करा
डिसेबल
आणि खालती शेअर स्क्रीन वरती तुम्ही
क्लिक केलं, बरोबर आहे.
आणि त्याच्यानंतर तुम्ही कुठल्याही आता डेस्कटॉप वरती असेल तर ते तुम्ही याच्यावरती क्लिक करून हे करा ना.
ब्राउझर वर तुमचं ओपन करून
स्क्रीन आहे, युट्यूब आहे की व्हाईट बोर्ड आहे, त्याच्यावरती तुम्ही क्लिक करा. स्क्रीन असेल तर ते स्क्रीन वरती क्लिक करा.
करतोय आता.
बाकीच्याने प्लीज म्यूट ठेवा. बाकीचे प्लीज म्यूट ठेवा.
डिसेबल करा.
शशिकांत,
हा,
फोनवरच करून घ्या. फोन झाले का शशिकांत? फोन करूनच गाईड केलं असतं बरं.
एकच मिनिट थांब ना. सर होतंय का?
शशिकांत स्क्रीन शेअरिंग एनेबल कर.
हा, तुझ्याकडनं करेन.
हो,
एनेबल कर. मी करतो.
राईट. सॉरी. या, नाव यू कॅन शेअर सर.
Okay, again I'll do.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yes,
सर.
येतंय
सर. आलाय सर.
आला ना?
येस सर.
मला
हो, आलाय सर. सर, फक्त मी एक दीड मिनिटाचं छोटंसं इंट्रोडक्शन देतो, कारण यू रिक्वायर नो इंट्रोडक्शन ऍक्च्युली, पण एक प्रोसिजर म्हणून. एनिवे, वेलकम ऑल डिअर अजिंक्यन्स. आपले जे 2-3 रूल्स आपण सगळ्यांनी फॉलो करायचे आहेत. बाकीच्यांनी प्लीज म्यूट ठेवा तुमचा फोन, म्हणजे आपल्याला प्रेझेंटेशन सिमलेसली आणि व्यवस्थित ऐकू येईल. आजचा टॉपिक पण फार महत्वाचा आहे. पहिलाही टॉपिक महत्वाचा आहे, दुसराही टॉपिक तेवढाच महत्वाचा आहे. आतापर्यंत सगळ्या अजिंक्यांनी चांगल्या प्रकारे रिस्पॉन्स दिला, त्याच्याबद्दल सगळ्या अजिंक्यांचे धन्यवाद. जास्त वेळ न घेता आणि तुमच्यामध्ये दरी न करता मी सरांचं छोटंसं इंट्रोडक्शन देतो. लेफ्टनंट जनरल राजेंद्र निंबोरकर, आपल्या स्कूलमध्ये 1975 बॅचचे पास आउट, आणि सगळ्यात महत्वाचं इंट्रोडक्शन म्हणजे ब्रेन बिहाइंड द सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स. एवढंच इंट्रोडक्शन सफिशियंट आहे. ओव्हर टू यू सर फॉर युअर ग्रेट सेशन. आय डोंट वॉन्ट टू बी हिंड्रन्स टू ऑल दिस थिंग्स. ओके सर, थँक्यू. ओव्हर टू यू.
Okay, gentlemen, we're starting right on time. And
Yes, sir.
first of all, I take this opportunity to welcome you all for this session, and I consider it a proud privilege to be talking to you on this issue. Most of my friends who are from the armed forces, they would definitely have served here, so therefore they would know exactly what I'm talking about. But other than the armed forces officers, most of you are keen learners, keen watchers of the current events. So therefore, you must be following all the events what are happening in Jammu and Kashmir. So to that extent, nobody's new to it. So what I'll try to do, I'll structure my talk for 2 minutes, and then for 20 minutes or so, I'll take questions and answers on any aspects. And I have served for around 80. And I have tried to structure it in such a manner that most of the intricacies are left out and generalistic issues are cover the topography, brief history from the past to present, and then how did we come to a present situation, what are the problems in the present situation, and try and venture as to suggest what should be the solution. That's the last one slide. And mostly I'll expect questions from you, which I will answer. Now coming on to the first slide, you see on your screen, can you see?
Yeah, we can see, but then you can go to the slideshow.
Think.
Not recording, sir.
खाली बॉटमला
नाही वरती आहे,
बरोबर
वरती आहे, टॉपला स्लाइड शो आहे बघा. तुम्ही त्यात तुमच्या कर्सरच्या वरती जर घेतलं तर येस अॅनिमेशनच्या नंतर नो नॉट देअर सर.
Right side.
येस वरती अबव. तुम्ही हे आता ह्याच्यात हे तर कलर त्यात तुम्ही हे केलाय सर आता. बरं ठीक आहे,
नाही असू दे.
ठीक आहे.
शशिकांत सर F12 सांग.
येते का? Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Very perfect.
Whatever is the first slide, and what it shows is unity and diversity of the country. The second slide is very important. Hence, what always known as heaven on earth.
ते काय बोलताय का?
Firdaus.
सगळे शांतच तर आहे.
Heaven on earth. Here it is here. This slide, Yogesh had told me that just try and explain us to the topography. So this is basically shows you on the map as to where are the ranges. Now, if you can see my cursor, the range which is here, which is in the brown line, is the Pir Panjal range. It emanates from the Great Himalayas, lower side, and goes and tapers down to Muzaffarabad in POK. The second is Great Himalayan range itself, which again the Kargil region. And then in Ladakh, there is a Ladakh range, goes again parallel to it. And the last is the Karakoram range, which emanates from Pamir North and goes on the line of actual control, which I'll tell you later, which is between Tibet and India. South of Pir Panjal is the Jammu region. In between Pir Panjal and Greater Himalaya is the Vale of Kashmir. Between Greater Himalayas and Ladakh range is the Kargil and Ladakh region. And between Ladakh and Karakoram is the plains of Ladakh or a desert of Ladakh. And beyond that is Aksai Chin or barren land of Tibet. Now this is a pictorial view of the Kashmir Vale, which I showed, south of Pir Panjal, Jammu region. This is the island of Kashmir, Srinagar, Baramulla, Pir Panjal range, Great Himalayan range, and on this side the island is covered by Shamshabadi range, then the Greater Himalayas, and subsequently, as I told you. So this you generally use a more view to a slide. The border, there is always very confusing. Here I tried to show you map lines like this. Here is a purple line. Now this line, we call it a line of control, which runs for 772 kilometers. It starts from Sangam, that is Chenab River, goes along Rajouri, Poonch, Uri, and then subsequently runs to via Kargil, and last point, which was demarcated in 71, is called map reference is NJ9842. And thereafter it was said that it runs along the lines of glacier, which is a problem and Pakistan. This line, a brownish line called actual ground position line. And beyond that, in XIGN, we have got this black line runs for 832 kilometers, which is called line of actual control, is with China. So it's quite complex, and below this Sangam, below the Chenab River, when Chenab enters Pakistan, that side is an international border. So the province of J&K, erstwhile J&K, has plains with an international border, line of control, then we have got actual ground position line, and then we have got a line of actual control. Now you see the important thing is a yellowish portion, which measures about 5,180 square kilometers, the part of POK. And in 1963, after 62 war, Pakistan had ceded this valley to China. Now it is a very interesting thing. Now there is a fight between us, and I have got your land, and I say, okay, I'll give land to somebody else. How can you do it? So this is a very, 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 and we have a number of times in international fora. Obviously, if your interest is involved, then obviously you'll try and help the person who has given the land to you. So therefore, that's interest in China. And mind you, I was doing a course in Hawaii, and the US think tank who do the Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies, a number of think tanks of US are there, and who was dealing with these days, they did not know such a thing had happened. I had to point it out to them. The peculiarities of border, I tried to show a picturesque thing as to how the border looks like or how the LC looks like. So this maximum temperature in, say, Akhnur area, Jammu, maximum temperature goes to as high as 45 degrees. This is the one, the valleys thereafter goes towards Pir Panjal range, the high peaks, high mountains. There are nalas, rivers. See, there's a kind of foliage which is there, so it's easy, lanes for easy infiltration. And you see there are dhokes. Dhokes means where the bakarwals, nomads are there. They go for grazing their cattle and have a small, small huts on the high altitude. They actually help the infiltrating columns or small, small profits giving the shelters. And when you go up north, right at the edge of the Pir Panjal, of the highest mountain, you see always snow-covered peaks and rugged mountains. So these also many a times infiltrated, try and come through this. And therefore, our soldiers have to guard every inch of it. At the ground position line. A history of J&K. J&K from the prehistoric times was a Hindu kingdom. And there are enough evidences to it. If you read Raj Tarangani by Kalnan, he gives a beautiful account of how the Kashmir Vale was. Then thereafter, a proper Hindu rule came, Mr. Avanti Varman and others who followed. There's a golden era of rule in Valley of Kashmir where peace prevailed, the modernity as compared to those times where the people were developed and people seemingly were very happy. Then was the Shahamir dynasty. Of course, this dynasty also, people did enjoy life, they were quite okay, they're quite happy. And then thereafter was a Mughal rule. In Mughal rule, there was a kind of a repression. The ruler who fought the Mughals from the northern Kashmir was actually harassed, tortured, and finally massacred. Then came the Afghan rules after Ahmad Shah Abdali, and it continued till Maharaja Ranjit Singh took this valley from the Afghans. And the Maharaja Ranjit Singh rule continued till 1846. And then when it was bought by Dogra ruler from the Britishers for 75,000 pounds, and the Dogra rulers ruled it. In 1926, the last Singh was crowned. And there are certain milestones, historic landmarks. As I said, 1926, Hari Singh, last ruler, he was 1913 conference, today's national conference was formed. 1946, the national conference launches Quit Kashmir movement, and this was with a tacit understanding with Nehru, and this was launched by Sheikh Abdullah. August 1946, India and Pakistan attained independence. 22 October 1947, military invasion of J&K by Pakistani raiders. Actually, it was Pakistani army, but they gave it a name that they are the raiders. We have got nothing to do with. Very interesting thing. On our side, the highest ruler or highest representative of Indian kingdom, that's a state, was Lord Mountbatten. And other side also, the chief of military was also a Britisher. So if the raiders are coming, it is very unlikely that both of them did not know. So therefore, it was a tacit understanding between these two chaps that you carry on doing what you want to do. And 26 October 1947, Jammu and Kashmir acceded to India. Now here I'll go a little bit of background. You see, when the partition of India, legislation which was tabled in British Parliament said that anybody, any kingdom can accede to any country, either Pakistan or India, depending on their wish. So 525 principalities merged with us, and 3 did not decide. One was Hyderabad, second was Kashmir, and third was Junagadh. Junagadh, of course, we took it and annexed it. Hyderabad was a police action. Jammu and Kashmir thought that it will like Switzerland, he will be autonomous, but he kept on dithering in the end as to what to do. And therefore, when the raiders started, actually not in October 1947, they started in August itself in the end. And when they're about to reach Srinagar, now he did not know what to do. And therefore, he appealed to India for help. And India put a condition that if you sign the instrument of accession to us, last bullet, then we will send the forces for protection. And since Lord Mountbatten was a Governor General, he accepted, I do hereby accept the instrument of accession dated so and so, and therefore now India can send the troops for protection of Jammu and Kashmir. This instrument of accession, gentlemen, absolutely same as for other 525. There is not even a comma or full stop different. So therefore, Article 370 as a special provision. Then there is a counter argument. The PEPS was a Sikh majority state, then why don't we have for them also? So all this thing, you know, on 22nd October, when they started from Muradabad, they came in various prongs. One of the prongs which came via Jhelum Valley, they first spent some time in Muradabad. They actually plundered Muradabad themselves, then came to Baramulla. And Baramulla is not very far from Srinagar. If they wouldn't have stopped in Baramulla, straight away gone to Srinagar, we wouldn't, today Kashmir would not have been with us. Raiders looted Baramulla. They raped the nuns, which are Christian nuns, which were there in churches in Baramulla. Few churches were there, and spent about, or wasted, in fact, 3 days. They did not have a guide. So therefore, they caught hold of one Muhammad Salim Sherwani. Now, he was a very, very patriotic fellow, young boy, that time 27, 28 of years age. He kept on misguiding them in and around Baramulla for about 2 days. And these precious 2 days actually were the ones who saved Kashmir for us. And subsequently, when the Pakistani soldiers and the raiders felt and knew that he is trying to fool us, he was hanged by the tree near Baramulla. So he was another great patriot who saved the Kashmir Valley from the Pakistanis. Thereafter, in 47 October, was Brigadier Muhammad Usman, who died in that battle. In fact, a very interesting story about Muhammad Usman. Brigadier Muhammad Usman was a very brave offered by the Pakistani that he should go to the Pakistan army. And they says, you will rise as high as the chief. He says, no, my country is India, and therefore I will stay here and fight with Indians as this is my own country. And then, of course, we captured Rajouri. Rajouri is just after Nowshera Jangad on that line of control which I showed you. And thereafter was a major battle for Poonch. Now, Poonch was surrounded from all sides by the raiders and Pakistani, and it was isolated. In fact, at one point in time, the 50,000 Hindu, Sikhs, and militia, government forces, militia, they used to call them, they wanted to withdraw and come back and hand over the Poonch. Lieutenant he did withdraw, made the defense strong by one Baba Meher Singh, helped them and held on to that garrison for one complete year till the time link-up was there from Puri and from Rajouri. Therefore, this is a very brave act, and therefore today's Poonch is because of Brigadier Pritam Singh. And there was, after that was the Battle of Zojila. Zojila, you may be now recollecting, which I told you, the greater Himalaya between Kashmir Valley is Master's Ladakh. We would have lost Ladakh forever. Therefore, on 31st October 1948, when the temperature went to 20, about 70 to 80 kilometers, our troops in the normal summer dresses, cotton dresses, went with the PT shoes and captured Zojila. If those of you who has gone to Kashmir and from Zojila to Leh Ladakh, you know how difficult it is to climb in the vehicle itself. So going and capturing and getting hold of that pass, you see the bravery of our troops. And that Battle of Zojila, the very famous battle because of which we today have our Ladakh with us. Very important after Skardu garrison. Skardu is a place which is a garrison by Maharaja's troops, 1,200 people. There was family, children. They kept on fighting and holding on to this garrison under Lieutenant Colonel Sherjang Bahadur Thapa. And they thought that we will release them. And there were chances they came to know that we are fighting and we have progressed well. But the Muslim troops of Pakistan, they could not capture this garrison because our troops, families, children, they kept on fighting. Our linking columns could not reach them. And on 31st December 48, our Prime Minister then, Jawaharlal Nehru, decided to order a ceasefire when we are winning and going all out and we are about to get back all our areas. We decided to call for a ceasefire and go to the UN for resolving it. Now, as to why we have done this, I am not very sure. As a military man, I fail to understand why should you hand over our or any political party. There's a pure nationalistic feeling. And this is what we said, वो वक्त भी देखा है तारे के गहराई ने, हमों ने फतह की थी और सदियों ने सजा पाई. Whatever we lost after that, the lives lost, is because of that one single decision which we had taken, right or wrong. Posterity is to judge, and of course, I feel now removal of Article 370 has put the garrison. Now, let's see, UN, okay, the plebiscite was ordered, UN resolutions came. What are the clauses? Part 1, part Pakistan ensure withdrawal of their army, tribals, non-resident. That means all those people who are not part of POK, they must go back. And vacate has to be restricted. free after. First, which to be determined according with the will of the people. And given assurance to India, text box 9. Plebiscite will not be binding on India. Pak does not implement parts 1 and 2. Very, very clearly given. Now, how Pak has violated this part 1 and 2? They have not taken their forces out. Tribals have not gone out. On the contrary, the ex-servicemen of Pakistan, those who retired, were settled in POK and given lands to cultivate. So they changed the demography. So the part 1 will never be able, the Pakistan will never, they will not withdraw the forces, are there, they have got their land. And therefore, the part 3 take place. There is a very, very big dilemma. And therefore, this UN resolution, to my mind, is wholly different. And therefore, out of this is the extract of Constitution of J&K in 1956, which they adopted. The state of Jammu and Kashmir is and shall be an integral part of the Union of India. Therefore, anything, any say, any comment by Pakistan or by international community or Muslims all over the world do not have any locus standi on this subject to discuss. Our stand is simple as what is our stand? You can see it is 3 bullets. And the Pakistan stand is the status quo, no reduction of troops and go for a plebiscite. Now, after this came 1965 operation. Basically, why did 1965 war take place? There was a military leadership in Pakistan, Field Marshal Ayub Khan. He always thought that he was a proponent of theory that one Muslim soldier is equivalent to 10 Hindus. In 62, we got a beating, bad beating. Our morale supposedly was down by their standard. In 1963-64, there was a skirmish in Rann of Kutch, where we did not show any aggression and tried to solve it diplomatically. So they thought that Indians are on a back foot. And therefore, he hatched a plan that infiltrate 5 columns in Jammu and Kashmir, capture radio station and civil administration, and thereafter do a military strike from Akhnur, and if all goes well, thereafter employ the armored division and fully complete Jammu and Kashmir. Now, very, very good plan, and it also muscle added to them because they had excellent equipment. They had Sabre jets, which they got from US. They got patent tanks, which are one of the best tanks at that time. We had small Nats. We had very, very vintage tanks. And they knew this. And therefore, they thought this is the right time to sort out the Kashmir issue. And that time, the Indian leadership was in doldrums. Lal Bahadur Shastri had just taken over. Nehruji had died, and they thought that everything is weak, and Shastri as this diminutive fellow will not do anything. So therefore, they started this operation, and they nearly succeeded. They came near Akhnur and halted. General Yahya Khan was at the head and halted for some time there. But the Indian Muslims on our side, Jammu and Kashmir side, did not falter, helped the Indian army and made sure that the Pakistan plan does not succeed in Srinagar, Valley or Valley of Kashmir. However, they were winning on Akhnur front, and therefore there was a danger of Kashmir being cut out from Jammu side. And Ayub Khan, Lal Bahadur Shastri took a decision to go through the international border and went as near to the Lahore as possible. And then thereafter was a Tashkent agreement. Now what had happened? We had a big gains. We had captured Hazibir Pass. Hazibir Pass is which joins Urian Punch. And that was a pass which we had captured. We had captured areas near Kargil 13620, which dominates the highway from Srinagar to Leh. However, we lost major territory in Cham Jaudia sector near Akhnur, and thereafter Tashkent Agreement. What does Tashkent Agreement say? Okay, ceasefire and go back to wherever you were. So nobody gains, nobody loses. Then we had to give out Hazipur Pass. We had to give 13620. We took back our Cham Jaudia. and thereafter. So in a sense, 1960 operation was status quo. No winners, no losers. Then came 1917 operation. Major action was on eastern side. What happened in 71 on the western front was that again we lost Cham Jaunia. We retreated there. However, we captured 13,620, did not capture Hajipir. We captured number of places in Rajasthan, went inside, and then what is forum and so it was henceforth Kashmir was supposed, which we followed, and they did not. And then with this agreement, UN resolutions were supposed to be rendered irrelevant. But what happened? This is the map. Both sides. We drew the line of control with their representatives. You can see that clearly. The signatures of both the sides are General Bhagat and there some Lieutenant General. I can't see his name. Now, this was a situation, and it continued. Seemingly, the line of control was hot and cold, not much activity, some small arm firing was going on. And by and large, things were quiet, and a seemingly status quo was there. Now, what happened in 1990 and onwards? Very, very important thing. You take back your minds. What was the situation? Political, social, geopolitical, international, diplomatic, military. How were we placed? How was India placed? We had worse kind of relations with all our neighbors. Bangladesh was against us, different form of different government. We had spoiled relations with Nepal by putting an embargo on them. We were fighting in Sri Lanka, Indian peacekeeping force. We were fighting in Siachen, Operation Meghdut. Russia was collapsing, only good friend, weapons. So there was nobody to bank upon. Our economy was in doldrums. You remember only 12 days of foreign exchange were left in 1991 BPC came. So nobody, you can't, no enemy will wait to take advantage of this. So therefore, our friend across, again a military ruler, he planned Operation Topak. And most important thing, insurgencies were there in India. That time, Punjab insurgency, very critical portion of our citizens in Punjab were fighting against us, terrorists. Assam was simmering, Chhattisgarh or LWE, they were getting their head. So we are in a very bad situation, and army was fighting in all fronts.
So,
and we are very
Sir, sorry to interrupt. We have left out with few seconds. Okay, so we may get disconnected, so we can rejoin and continue again, sir.
Okay. So am I running out of time?
No, let's say you can complete it once we rejoin, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So
No, you should continue, sir. This is a